Carolina Impact.
Good evening. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Amy Burkett. Flying in and out of Charlotte Douglas International Airport is a constant game of hurry up and wait. It's the second busiest airport on the East Coast, the sixth busiest in the country, and always planning and building new concourses and runways and parking decks to keep up with all that growth. But it's the changes you can't see, new cutting-edge air traffic control changes, that could make Charlotte's airport even busier. Carolina Impact's Jeff Saunier joins us from the airport with more.
Well, Amy, with the promise of more flights and fewer delays, plus safer skies, this new air traffic control system at Douglas Airport sounds like a good idea for the airport, for the airlines, and for airline passengers. But airport neighbors are wondering, what about all the noise?
030 intercept 179 Wisconsin.
It's the voice in every pilot's ear.
American 873, turn right heading 300. Right 300, American 873.
With information every pilot needs.
We're going down to 6,000 and back to 170 on the state, plus you're 5142.
In that airplane in the night sky like shooting stars.
But now the FAA says for Charlotte there's a better, faster, safer way.
Rather than me talking to you about where you're going to fly, I'm texting the information directly to your flight management system.
Let's say it's a bad weather day here at the tower.
And right now, if an air traffic controller wants to talk to a pilot and redirect because of some weather changes, they have to do that just by talking to them. That can take 6 or 7 minutes.
330, join 36 left, American 873. Wisconsin 3906, ready speed at 210, then send them 1850.
This will be a text message mechanism of doing that. That'll take about 30 seconds. So, why Charlotte? You know, why are we here in the Queen City?
The FAA's answer is a program of high-tech improvements known as NextGen that they're launching at Charlotte Douglas International Airport over the next 2 years.
North Carolina holds a special place in aviation history as being first in flight. And now Charlotte is leading the way once again with NextGen.
It's designed not just to make communication between pilots and the tower more clear, but also to make routes between CLT and other cities more direct, and to make jet traffic on the ground at Charlotte Douglas more efficient. So these ticket-buying Charlotte passengers can save more time.
Which means that rather than sitting on the tarmac, you can sit in the terminal, or you can leave later. And so my flight to DC today, which is an hour and 24 minutes, only 55 minutes of that is actually in the air. And so you can take that time and give that back.
For the airport, NextGen is also a way to get more flights in and out of Charlotte without spending millions on more taxiways, which keeps Charlotte's biggest airline happy too.
For us, it's a very complex airport because of the physical layout, and it's when you're running a lot of airplanes in and out on the ground at the same time, sometimes the surface environment is not as efficient as we would like it to be.
But a more efficient NextGen Charlotte Airport also means a busier airport. And airport neighbors worry busier just means noisier.
Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky like shooting stars?
I've lived here for many years, and I've not noticed a difference at all over the years. It's always loud.
Elizabeth Brizendine can hear the planes and see the planes through the treetops on her daily neighborhood walk just a mile from the airport's center runway. And she's wary of what's happening near other NextGen airports. The LA Times, for instance, reports big increases in noise complaints near the San Francisco airport, from about 5,000 in 6 months before NextGen to 147,000 in the same 6 months after NextGen. That includes 1 month alone with 62,000 complaints. But the FAA predicts that won't be the case here in Charlotte, that more flights won't mean more noise. Since the airline with most of Charlotte's service also touts having the most modern equipment flying that service.
We're ready for our close-up with more new planes than any other airline in the world.
So they're going to have a fleet of 9 and 10-year-old and less aircraft. All right, they're going to be much quieter than the aircraft were several years ago, much quieter.
With all due respect, I'm sure those that are in the rooms building the technology and planning it all out, that's probably a lot of truth to that. But as a resident that lives nearby an airport, I have not noticed any sound or noise diminishing at all.
Could we pretend that airplanes in the night sky like shooting stars?
By the way, the FAA wanted to make one thing particularly clear about this new air traffic control system coming to Charlotte. They say, unlike driving a car when it's unsafe to be texting, they say for pilots, looking at a screen in front of them in the cockpit while flying is perfectly safe. In fact, they say it's even safer since most of the information that pilots are getting is coming from screens in the cockpit already. Amy?
Thanks so much, Jeff. Nationwide, the FAA estimates its next-gen project will cost customers and airlines $1 billion a year for 20 years. They've invested about $5 billion in the project so far. And they add the next-gen changes here will give Charlotte's airport the most advanced flight control system in the world. Joining me now is Jack Christine, Deputy Aviation Director of Charlotte Douglas International Airport. Jack, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You know, I'm a fan. I've just got to go out there. I've done quite a bit of business traveling this year, and to be able to get places directly, it's always busy, but it seems like everyone knows what needs to be done to get people in and out efficiently. But we're taking it to the next step with this next-gen system. Help people understand just what it really means.
Well, there's a lot of components to next-gen that you'll hear the FAA talk about, but specifically what's happening in Charlotte are 3 components that the FAA is working on, and we're actually helping partner with a couple of those things. And the goal is to try and create a very efficient and safe operation for the airport.
These changes give improvements that go far beyond the Charlotte area.
It does. The third component that they're working on is the one that impacts Charlotte Airport the most, which is a program that we're working with NASA and the FAA and American Airlines on to really provide a better flow for the aircraft, literally from the gate to the runway for departure. What we're trying to accomplish
More takeoffs?
there, it would ultimately allow us to do additional takeoffs, but really what we're trying to do is manage the congestion of the aircraft on our ramp closest to the building, because it may look like we're sitting on a very large airport, but when you put 100 airplanes on the ground at one time, it really makes it a challenge to try and navigate those aircraft while they're on the ground. So this program is going to allow NASA and the FAA to develop a system that will computerize a lot of the decision making for when the aircraft are pushed off the gate and actually leave to depart, so that it's more of a direct route, and we reduce fuel burn while the aircraft are sitting there waiting on the taxiway for takeoff.
And this is the first time we're seeing advancement that's a little less obvious to the eye anyhow.
It is. That's exactly right. This is more what I would call back of the house type of improvements, where the passenger may not directly see something that's happening in front of them, but what we hope that they will see over time is that the time it takes them to fly from, say, Charlotte to Philadelphia right now could be an hour and 45 minutes. We may be able to squeeze that to an hour and 30 minutes. And if you could do that, that helps passengers get to where they need to be a little bit quicker.
Make those connections.
And make those connections. That's exactly right.
Jack Christine, Deputy Aviation Director at Charlotte Douglas International Airport. We appreciate your time, appreciate all the commitment to making our airport the best it can be.
We appreciate being here. Thank you.
Next up, in